The area you are in is enclosed with trees, and the color is typical of autumn. You make your way through a passage. It goes through one of the walls. After turning the corner, you reach a dead end, and atmosphere starts to change. The sky got darker, the music more intense, and now you are walking along a path that wasn't there before. There's a light in the distance, and now you are in a hallway that is illuminated with bright yellow. You walk into the room, make your way down the corridor, open the door, and see a person sitting on the computer, and it turns out to be you. Once you interact with him, you pick up an axe and now you are face to face with a character named Andrew, and our character's name is Ivan. It is told that Andrew is working on a game, and Ivan tells him he is working on almost all the aspects of the game. It is evident Ivan wants to be a part of the game, presumably as the writer. He then goes off to bring Andrew something from his nightstand. Once there, it is a script that he wants to show Andrew. He gives it to Andrew, hoping that he can be a writer for the game, but unfortunately Andrew denies his offer. Now there is a gift Andrew wants to give to Ivan, and it is down in the parking lot in his car. Outside is pitch black, with barely anything visible other than the faint lights of the windows and the lamppost over Andrew's car. You then find out the gift is a plant, and you bring it all the way back up to the apartment. You now are on an island, again with the autumn vibe and vegetation around you. You jump over some pillars and climb an enormous arch that acts like a sort of bridge between the islands. After reaching the second island, there's a note on a stone wall reading, "Made by Andrew." This must be in some sort of way referencing the game that Andrew has made. After ripping the paper off, the entire area around you except for a few lanterns goes pitch black. All the lanterns go off and now you only have some sort of glow emanating from you. Make your way through the darkness, and as you reach the door with a bright light, it's Andrew's home looks quite cozy, with brown and beige-like colors found everywhere around the place. Ivan strikes up a conversation with Andrew, and mentions how windows make a place more lively. Andrew then talks about the game being worked on, stealing a cookbook as a kid, and how he will be spending his time working on the game during Thanksgiving. He tells Ivan that he is struggling with money, and how the only source of income he has at the moment is from the stuff he creates and publishes. He asks us if we could get some rosemary from the back garden, and we make our way along the path. The path is long, too long. It is very dark, and the leaves are rustling as you make your way through the void. You then reach a beautiful pond, with the rosemary lying on the script that Ivan made. Ivan then makes his way back to the house and gives the rosemary to Andrew. Turns out Andrew threw our character's script into the trash, and we find out the house and moving in is the problem he has been trying to hide. Ivan suggests talking about the script rewrite over dinner, and is given a cutting board to assist Andrew with the cooking. The knife is dull, and you are cutting the carrot, piece by piece, with the last... You wake up and find out a storm is approaching. The farm must be prepared for tonight. Fuel is put into the generator. After picking up the tools, you patch up the walls around the barn. You head back inside and drift off into sleep. It's dark. You can't see anything. And then the door creaks open out of nowhere. Something is moving into the door frame, very slowly. Once the figure gradually comes to a halt, thunder strikes. You open the door and find Andrew holding a box. Turns out he is moving into your house. Leaves you with a box and another one later. And in them there's an old picture of him and his friends, plus a trophy given to him during a competition. Comes back later and suggests taking a break. Ivan decides to rest up on the roof. They then start up a conversation, with Andrew complimenting the view from up on the roof. Andrew then asks why Ivan wants to help so much with the game, to which Ivan replies that he just wants to help a friend out. We then get a bit more depth into Andrew's life. We find out that he used to fight in school and skip class, and one time he got a message from a kid after they played his games, and told them how much they liked it. It made them cry, sobbing. Ivan then goes to get another cola. After arriving back to the roof, Andrew asks Ivan about his family, his parents primarily. Ivan asks him whether or not he has ever seen a dead body. He goes on and tells the story of how his dad ran into a building to save someone, and a ceiling or something as such fell and crushed his spine. During the funeral for the deceased firefighter, Ivan peeked into the casket and saw the charred corpse of his father. now engraved into his head forever. You are now in an office building, which is inside a game. It is stated that there is a tumor somewhere around here. You have a clip detector which tells you which parts of the game you can clip through. You find some areas through the beeping of the detector and go through the outside of the building. As you go deeper into the game, it starts to become more out of bounds and unnatural. You go on for quite a while and come across a long pathway that keeps getting shorter and shorter. There's a tight squeeze that you have to get through. You climb your way up and must now navigate the vast openness of the brick plane. There's a pillar that your clip detector finds, and as you teleport into it, you end up falling down very deep and breaking your clip detector in the process. A familiar light coming from the elevator is present, and after going back up to the floor where your flat is, you open the door to the roof. In there you find a glitching dark form. You meet Andrew outside, who's waiting for you, and it appears the two of you got into a fight. After heading back inside, Ivan states the admiration he has for Andrew, stating that life's like a flight of stairs, and Andrew is near the top, while Ivan is 1,000 steps behind, with a broken leg. He then hears something and goes to check it out. There's a long dark corridor stretching for quite some distance. You arrive at a room with 4 buttons to press, and the green one indicating that it is ready. Pressing the first button, someone is dropped. Pressing the second, they are lifted up by ropes. Pressing the third, you open a gate, and suddenly everything is dark with red warning lights spinning rapidly. The lights go off. Something dangerous is down there. After the lights come back on, the person has been utterly butchered. As you make your way through the glowing tunnel towards the couch, you're suddenly back in the room, with Andrew asking whether we are fine. Ivan then starts to go off on Andrew about how he constantly asks the question, "Are you okay?" over and over again. Soon the conversation takes a more darker turn, with Ivan telling Andrew about how he hopes that he will be broken in case he can fix him. He then feels sick and goes to the bathroom, with a ladder that takes you to the familiar elevator that ends up transporting you to a jail cell. The corridors and rooms are endless. There are closets littered everywhere, in every corner and part of the obscure and messed up place you have ended up in. Soon you are following the path that a corridor is taking you with. There's a huge tower that leads up to a platform at the top, and you make your way up it. You press the button, and now everything is dark. Something is out there, and you must use the lockers to hide from it. You retrace your steps back towards where you came from, and end up back at the corridor with the red gate now open, revealing a rotating vortex of cubes and void, with Ivan sitting across a table. The other Ivan assures us that nothing is chasing us. He tells us that we are in our apartment, and that we will be just fine even if we check it out ourselves. But there's something wrong. We are not okay. Ivan tells the other Ivan of him feeling that Andrew is always right and perfect, and that he's in the wrong for feeling the way he is. Feeling inadequate, that is. Other Ivan tells us Andrew hasn't been appreciating the work we have been putting into the game, and how we should make him work just as much as we do. He tells us how the game is the main source of income for Andrew, and how we can get the best of both worlds for helping him out with it, and not ending up like our father. He then gives us a chisel and we make our way back to the jail cell, this time with a block of stone present in the room. We then start carving out a statue of presumably Andrew, our own vision of him. After building it, we start breaking the statue bit by bit, and a hole opens up below it after it is fully destroyed. You fall down and are in the same room the person that got mutilated was in. Now you are the person down there. Face the thing this time. Then all of a sudden, you are transported back to your room, but you are on a ship in the ocean. The sailor tells us that there is a furnace in the back of the ship, and that he must get home. Another thing that is present is the fact that the sailor's name is the same color as Andrew's. You feed the furnace, and start exploring the ship. It is rather small, with some parts of the ship being made of wood, an irregular pattern. Rays of sunlight are piercing through the haze, and the waters are of a lighter blue color. The sailor then tells us about the fact of uranium in the past being put into various different things, and how no one knew it was lethal until it was too late. Then take the ladder and chuck it into the fire. Then goes on again about the other types of poisonous elements that were used as well. Break off a piece of the ship and feed it to the fire. The sailor then tells us that we are quite far from land, and we begin to break off a huge portion of the stern. It's getting dark, and now you pick up a saw and, well, Your arm is gone, and now you are cutting another part. Now your leg. You crawl your way back to the furnace, painfully as I might add. The sailor remarks how he enjoyed the time they spent with you. They then ask a favor, take them to the front of the ship to see the stars. The sailor is now lying on the deck, and the sky is dotted with bright spheres and we can see the edge of our own galaxy. It is then revealed that the sailor is actually Andrew, and we find out that Ivan was obsessed with the idea of a legacy built from Andrew's game. The ocean is glittering with the golden specks of light that are reflected from it. Andrew then throws himself into the fire. We are in our room, and the atmosphere is now very dull and lifeless. Andrew is sleeping on a mattress, and we decide to turn on the TV, despite him being directly next to it. He wakes up, and is surprised by Ivan being awake at such an hour. Andrew asks Ivan whether he's putting those various quotes into the game. We find out Ivan is putting them in. But Andrew is continually deleting them and asks him to stop. The situation is getting tense, and Ivan is upset that he's not being allowed to do anything with the game despite all the support and hospitality he has shown. Andrew tells him that it is taken, not of his own. Ivan is triggered deeply. He goes off at Andrew, telling him how he is sorry for all the things he has ever done to help him, whether it be by letting him stay in his home or by supporting him. Ivan then goes out of the flat to get some air, and we walk along a long corridor with spiraling doors at the very end leading to the elevator. You walk out of the apartment and find yourself in a church with a funeral going on. Slowly opening the casket, you see the remains of your father. He tells us to take back what is ours, the legacy that we have worked for. You walk back to the apartment, now with the intent of grabbing an axe. Once you return to the flat, Andrew is gone. This part involves a staircase that takes a lot of time to climb, but unfortunately I ended up falling on the very early stages, so apologies if I couldn't get the necessary clips for this scene. Ivan cannot keep living like this, and now he has to throw away Andrew's things. He's slowly taking the boxes one by one to the door. There is now a figure standing at the end of the hallway, and it kind of... You are now in an area with an indefinite amount of the plants that Andrew had given you in the past. There's a large, active fire in the distance. Now you are at its source, with a door leading inside. Our mom greets us at the door, and invites us to have dinner with the family. We pan towards Ivan, and his mom asks why he had to be somewhere so desperately. It turns out his father is upstairs, and Ivan states that he smells something burning and asks his mother to check up on it. Others do not smell anything, but Ivan persists. Andrew asks about our father, what he did as a firefighter specifically. Our mother is back with the meal, and our father is still missing. Ivan states the slightly dark fact regarding smoke inhalation being one of the main causes of death for firefighters. Conversation regarding Andrew's game development on Roblox starts. It turns into somewhat of a dispute of whether or not it is art, and Ivan gets very defensive about it. Andrew considers most of the games on it replicated and quite garbage, with Ivan not agreeing much on that aspect. His mom starts telling Andrew of all the negative aspects Ivan has to face with himself, and he ends up slamming the table, angry and accusing them of thinking low about him. The figure is now walking into the room, dark, charred, and when he speaks, unintelligible. Yet the others seeming to understand what he says. Andrew then goes on about how Ivan takes a lot of inspiration from other games, seemingly a large amount of it. The room goes dark, and a red light illuminates our father, subtly showing the horrible condition he is in. Ivan then goes on about how he lost Andrew, and how much he is sorry. His father tells him to not put his value onto another person, and to not give up yet with the task he has put upon himself. You get up from the table, and pick up the axe hanging on the wall. After turning around, there is a long flight of stairs before you. You get all the way to the top and see Andrew bound together and helpless. The axe goes all the way up and... You are in a cave, with a torch being your only source of light. After making your way through the cave, you spot light flowing into the cave through an opening. This is the side of a mountain. It's cold. It's barren. You get to a campsite and find a body that looks similar to you, and we find out we are playing as Andrew this time. The body is warmed up through the fire that you started, but you can't do anything. No matter what you try or do, the body will remain lifeless and cold. Load into a game that was made by Andrew, titled Game 6. After pressing 2 buttons, the platform beneath you starts descending. There are 2 statues present with the others missing, and you follow a path leading to a signal of some sorts. You make your way down the ramps, and can now see how bizarre this place really is. Following roads, going through buildings, getting over obstacles, going upstairs, and being launched into the air are the stuff you are doing to try and make your way to the very top. There are various pillars and different jump paths that you have to go through. You get on a red one and are now seeing an unfolding structure that seems to look like a spawn point of some sort. In the middle there's an obscure thing that is very bright and reflective, looking very saturated. Text above tells us how Andrew has moved and healed from the abuse that he had to go through from Ivan. He seems to be telling Ivan good. You fall down through a hole and into your room, which is dimly lit by a reddish light emanating from your lamp. Everything is dark, and you take the plant with you and throw it away at the dumpster. Going back to the elevator, punched you to the ground, asking why we left the game. Ivan tells him that he took all that he could with him, thinking all the work that he had done was gone. Andrew tells Ivan that he has sent some games to him in case word didn't get through. We make our way into a bunker, and a sign tells us that a tumor exists here that can end our life. After opening the gate, there are various claw marks on almost every single part of the hallway. There's a radio in the room we jumped into. It starts transmitting messages to us, asking if we can hear it, but something isn't right. It's coming for us, and the walls are now raised up, revealing a dark maze for us to traverse. We find out that we can contain the tumor if we lure it into the containment zone. As we are walking down a hallway, it's chasing us. We run into the zone, close the gate. It is contained, and we follow the line leading to the valve and into the room. After pressing a button, the lights go off, and now we have to press the button at the other end of the green wire to start the opening process. as we are waiting for it to open. We managed to get into the vent, and we are now safe from the... After evading a tumor a second time, we enter a tall building that leads us to a hallway. It is Andrew's words. He tells Ivan how he will be releasing the games with evidence of his abuse. He talks about how he released the game 7 years ago and how he hated it, each one after it having similar sentiments towards it, telling Ivan how he found justification through him, about how he admired him in a way he didn't. He escaped, a little piece of him remaining in the back of his mind, and how much he hates Ivan now. He loved him, but not anymore. He tells Ivan not to find him, and that he still won't come back no matter what. You rip the page. You are in a car, waiting nearby, a house, and a figure walks out of the door. Turns out it is Andrew. Ivan offers to take Andrew out to eat somewhere. Andrew breaks down and starts crying, evidently due to an event that occurred inside the house. You find yourself back at your room, and when you open the door to go out, you are taken outside of your apartment. Taking the elevator up to the floor you live on, you are met with the hallway curving downwards as it keeps going further. You fall down into the void and find yourself in a corridor with lockers to your sides. Something is in the dark, and you must stay in the light to avoid being caught by it. There's a switch at the end of this place, and you flip it on. The light is back, and now you are free from the danger. It is chasing you. You see a door at the beginning and you manage to get into it before the thing can catch you. After going into your flat, you make your way to your room. Opening the door reveals a long set of dark stairs illuminated faintly by some unknown source of light. Reaching the top reveals an axe, and after picking it up, you find yourself in the farm that was there in the 5th scene. You cut down the vine that is in your path. There's a hole in the wall, and there's a strange figure that can be seen. It is coming for you. You manage to phase through the walls. You have to make your way out of this place. You pick up a bucket and manage to put off the fire. Picking up a key, opening the closet, and going through the back door leads you to an open field of the same plants that Andrew gave you. It is still chasing you, but this time, you have to cut your way through the vines again. You manage to find an underground area with arrows pointing towards the direction you have to go towards. After reaching a door, it turns out to be locked. The thing is about to get... You are at the church again. Ivan asks his father for help. His father tells him that the legacy is what he is chasing after. You jump down the casket and are breaking down the plants that are obstructing your path. There's a breaker, and something is knocking on the door. Something destroys it. The area around you is burning, with burning ash floating around you. There's something that seems to be moving around the place, and you have to stand still in order for it to pass by. It turns out to be you that is moving around. You pick up the axe on the ground and now have to face off against yourself. The area is now darker, and the inner you is damaged, but you need way more than one swing to take it out. There's nothing left of the surroundings. It is plain and barren. Now it is vital that you take it out. There's a light shining off of the mist over the debris. Make your way up to the debris and find Andrew with an axe lodged into his head. Giving him one last look, you start making your way back through all the different areas you've been to. You reach a house and you are at a house in the middle of the woods and knock on the door. Andrew opens the door. Ivan tells him of how he is broken and that he has come to apologize. Tells him how much Andrew matters to him and the relationship they had together. Andrew tells Ivan that he forgives him over and over again. Ivan cannot accept it. You find yourself in an unknown dimension of some sorts, with a large structure in the center of a pillar. It is the tumor. You are now in your room. and everything seems to be back to normal, yet something feels off. You start making your way up the long set of stairs that lead to the roof. That was quite the journey, wasn't it? From my personal viewpoint, as it may be flawed or incorrect, I'm not too good with the writing aspect, nor do I think I have a good understanding of the situation. But here we go nonetheless. Ivan and Andrew are friends, and they have been for quite some time now. The game that Andrew has been working on is perhaps the catalyst that started the entire abuse and problem thing that has happened. The sudden death of Ivan's father left him with the fear of not having anything of value to leave in this world, which is why he was obsessed with Andrew's game, as it was something he could have a contribution on and thus achieve his goal. Andrew has been doing well financially and moves in with Ivan, but the story tells us that Ivan abused Andrew, horribly even, making him overwork to finish the game. Andrew confronts Ivan about this, and later reveals he has some games left for him. Ivan ends up playing them, and finds the various messages that he has left for him, and it describes the condition he has been in before and after the present situation. The tumor speaks to Ivan, feeding his delusion, and thus being too much to bear, results in Ivan doing the unthinkable. I am so thankful you guys watched this video until the end. It means so much to me, as I am not the best at such things, but managed to make at least you stick until the end. This is probably my very first ever scripted video, where I had to plan almost every aspect of the video and work on it with extreme vigor and care. Joking again. I definitely procrastinated a lot when making this, but it turned out pretty well in my own eyes. I want to give IMP69 the biggest shout out, since I was originally planning to scrap this video, but after seeing how his turned out, it gave me a great idea to turn it into more of a full-on scripted video. It's just one of those occasions where I rarely make something like this, but it was a great challenge and gave me new perspectives to work with too. Shout out to that cactus man and Water, of course, for making this great game. Honestly surprised me. I wanted it to end so quickly to finish it up, but in the end, it turned out to be one of the greatest psychological horror games I've ever experienced. Well, let me know what you guys thought of this one in the comments. I'm more than happy to hear the thoughts about this video, or the game itself too, and your experiences. Again, thank you all for watching, and I hope I will see you all in the next one. And of course, Later, fellas.